AITA. For not accepting my brother's girlfriend's apology and for upsetting the family. While on vacation with my family. Parents, brothers, significant others and my spouse and kids. One night over the trip each couple would prepare a dinner for everyone. My brother and his girlfriend made pizza from scratch for their turn. It was good and had a very spicy sauce. My kids said they didn't like it, it was hurting their mouths. I understood and went to make them something else. Drunk girlfriend asked what was wrong. I said it's too hot and spicy for the kids. All three are under 7, very good. Not picky eaters but can't handle hot spicy food. Think Frank's Red Hot sauce. Well, being drunk, as she is every evening, she walked into dining room, told my parents, my husband and my siblings. I was a horrible mother, I shouldn't have had kids to raise them to be spoiled. She went on to say while at the theme park I let them have a jumbo pretzels for their lunch and I should have given them a salad. When I heard this I obviously told her off, said to shut up and to not tell me how to mother my kids when she doesn't have any nor know anything at all about kids. Next night while drunk once again tried to apologize. I said no thanks, sober up and try another time. I don't have time for drunks. While my response made her cry and she didn't bother to try again. After returning from the trip, she has told my brother that I was banned from their house. It was my family cottage in family for over 100 years. Until my parents sold it to my brother when they retired. Still in the family but I no longer have a cabin there. She was not in picture then and the contract makes it very clear that the property cannot leave my family. So if they were to get married, divorced, she has zero claim. He told me this, I said whatever. Now when he hosts a Christmas or Thanksgiving I cannot go until I apologize to her for hurting her feelings and calling her a drunk. My parents and one of my brothers are now calling me an asshole for wrecking the family holidays by continuing to not suck it up and accept her apology and return one. My other brother is on my side as he has heard her mouthing off about my parents before while she was drunk. I have said I will host these events and both my brother and the drunk are invited, but I will never apologize nor will I pretend to like or be social with her. So am I the ass for not kissing ass to make the family all happy again? Edit. Thank you everyone for responding. I am going to send this link to my brothers and significant others. Let them read it for themselves. My parents are not tech friendly for Reddit. So I will let it be relayed to them. According to my brother whom I talked to yesterday. She hasn't had a drink in half a year. But she also hasn't bothered to try and apologize while sober. I don't think she was ever an alcoholic, but whenever there are people around for the evening she would have drinks. I have dealt with alcoholics and drunks in the past. I just don't waste my time on them anymore. I am too old for that bullshit and too much drama. Edit. For more backstory. Why I think I do know she drinks too much and why I felt the need to bring up the cottage. My brother and her have been together for 12 years. The second time I met her was at my wedding. Where my Mo and myself spent 2 hours in a bedroom consoling her, crying and being drunk whatever. She was early 20s then. I cut her slack. But that wasn't a one-off and it has always been like that. She cannot hold her booze. I believe my brother has also told her in past to stop drinking around the family. Because she is an embarrassment. That only lasted so long. For people saying how do I know she is a drunk? For over 8 years she would be at the cottage in the summer and every night starting just before dinner would be happy hour. Everyone would have a drink before dinner. She would just continue for the rest of night. At Christmas, Easter or Thanksgiving the same deal, but with my extended family as well. I grew up living at the cottage for over 40 years every summer. My kid's husband and myself had our own cabin on the property that we spent the summers at. My brother bought the property 3 years ago. First year everything was mainly the same. Between the first and second summer is when this fight happened. Since then I have not been there. Now my brother says my kids are welcome to go but I am not allowed. That's a big F no. They are not kid people. They would need to be supervised on how to be around them. My parents and brother think I should take the high road and just forget what happened. But also never once said to her, WTF. My youngest child 4. She does not know who her uncle is because last time she saw him was around the age of 2. My 2 older 7/9 do not want to be near the girlfriend because she is very mean. Obviously this has strained the family. But I still don't feel that I should take the high road because I am the oldest. Because she doesn't drink now and she did attempt to make that one drunken apology. I don't like dealing with stupid people or drunk people. I ignore it and walk away. Before she called me a bad mother. I tolerated her. I was pleasant to her. I made small talk. Not sure if this matters. I am 45. Her and brother are 37 and we have a middle brother that is 43, he is on my side with this. Edit. I have read everyone's responses, thank you so much for taking the time to respond. Answering a few points people have made. Yes, I probably do have issues with the whole cottage thing. It makes me sad I can no longer go there and that my kids can't enjoy it the way I did. Yes. I was never a huge fan of hers to start with. I have always found her to be annoying. But I was always pleasant to her, never insulting. I just never went out of my way to be friends with her. I probably could take the high road and move on to keep the peace and make things easier for the whole family. But I really do not think AITA. Her original comment and her terrible apology were extremely hurtful, unwarranted. I have zero desire to waste my energy on a person who is like that. I managed to keep my unwanted options to myself over the years. Because I was always taught if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Not the asshole. Keep the drunk away from your family and especially children. Drunkie owes you the apology for attacking your children. Let your brother know he is the asshole for allowing her to attack your kids without shutting her down, then banning you from the house for not accepting her drunken apology. Not the asshole. She also has some nerve insulting your parenting just because your kids won't eat spicy food. Most kids have issues with spicy foods, especially if they are not used to it. It has nothing to do with being picky. And that comment about you should make them eat a salad? She's shaming them and you. You can always tell her thank you for the apology. However, you don't have to accept it and you certainly shouldn't apologize to her. Not the asshole. Your brother's girlfriend was way out of line. She owes you a genuine apology, while sober, and she has no right to kick you out of your brother's house. Not the asshole. And while you're avoiding her, I'd be letting your parents know that while they support her and continue to blame you for her actions, that they too will not be allowed near your children. Everyone is trying to take the easy path by ignoring her actions and trying to force you into line to appease her and make the situation go away. I wouldn't want my kids around her at any rate, and would rather put my time and energy into people that support me. Take your partner and kids somewhere fun instead of these family events, or spend more time with his family if they are nice. Soon your family will get the memo that you won't accept being shit on, and maybe it will force everyone to think about their behavior and what they are willing to accept. If not, hey, you don't have to be around them. Not the asshole. She sound like a complete asshole. Not the asshole. It sucks that your family didn't stand up for you. Being drunk isn't an excuse. Not the asshole. That woman owes you and your kids a sincere apology. Your brother is also the asshole for not standing up for you and allowing his girlfriend to ban you from the family home. Also keep the drunk away from your kids. Not the asshole. Though if she ever works on her often being drunk and apologizes while sober, you shall consider accepting that apology. Am I the asshole? I met my fiancé's best friend's girlfriend, and do not want her at my wedding. Okay, long story here. My fiancé's best friend, we'll call him Chris, and his girlfriend, we'll call her Jane, came for a 4-day visit 2 years ago. They come from out of town. I have spent time with Chris a handful of times, but have always expressed to my partner how lovely he is and how it's too bad he lives so far, as it would be nice to have him over more often. Fast forward. He starts dating this woman, we are all late 20s nearly 30s, and they are coming to town for a few days and asked to stay at ours. No problem. I spend the entire day cleaning my house top to bottom, and even buy some new guest towels and nice face towels for them when they come. It was my first time ever having a guest stay more than one night. Everyone decides to meet Friday night for drinks, including Chris' brother and girlfriend. Unfortunately, I knew that would lead to a late night, so I passed, as I had to work at 8 a.m. Saturday. I told them this, and they understood. I asked if it would be possible for everyone that's coming over to try to be back at the house for about midnight. We have a dog that would wake me up, and told them if the dog wakes me up around then, I won't care. I can fall back asleep fast once my goofy dog stops freaking out. I told them they can still play music and have drinks and talk at whatever volume, because sound doesn't wake me, my dog jumping on me does. Sulfur monoxide. They agree, and are understanding. They come home at 3:30 a.m. Thanks, my dog wakes me up, of course, and they proceed to keep drinking downstairs. After an hour or two my partner comes upstairs, and passes out. He rarely drinks, and Jane and Chris come upstairs heading to the bathroom. Jane then pukes all over my bathroom. All over my new towels. All over my clean bathroom. Then Chris and Jane head to bed. I was still awake. I waited for sounds of cleaning up before realizing it was never going to happen. So I got up, cleaned the mess, did the laundry, and was up the rest of the night. It was on the floors and counters too. I had a total of 2 hours of sleep before work. The next day I told my partner that I would forgive if I had gotten an apology when I came home from work. I didn't mention I had never even laid eyes on this woman at this point ever. Needless to say, I didn't get an apology, and she treated me as if I were a guest in my own home. She ignored me and dismissed me. There was a lot more that happened over those short days, but now my partner doesn't understand why I don't want her at our wedding. I told him it isn't fair for me to have someone so selfish at my, very small max 15 people wedding, when they have been so disrespectful to me, and to other women, interestingly only women. I haven't ruled her out, but I feel awful as he feels I'm stopping his best friend from attending and I'm not. I haven't even seen them since this happened. Am I the asshole? Edit to add some extra detail. These are sober happenings. Okay, first off, if you get drunk and puke, it happens. My issue was that her boyfriend was in the bathroom holding her hair, and for some reason I thought he could handle it. Saturday night, they got back to ours after having dinner with Chris and his brother's family. They all came back to ours. First thing she does is squeeze herself between my fiancé and I on the couch, and I mean squeeze. I had to shuffle even though there was space on the other side, and turns her back to me and talks to everyone else but shut me out. She then proceeded to move off the couch to the floor with her BF, lay in his lap, and pass out snoring in front of 6 other people. We live in a small house. She still to this day has never told me her name. Never introduced herself. She also used my bathroom products without asking me, expensive stuff, and told me my cat and dog like her more than they like me. Not the asshole. Bring up the fact that you had to clean up after her. Make sure your fiancé is there. If she dismisses you, have him back you up and see if she changes her tune. Ask yourself why your fiancé is okay with someone, even another woman, disrespecting you, your home, and your time this way. I'm guessing he knows your schedule. Is he usually this inconsiderate about it? Does he often dismiss your concerns like this? Not the asshole, your wedding, your rules. You don't know her well enough and she treated you like crap. Make sure the invite to him only has his name on it without a +1 option. No one should feel like a guest in their own home. Have a conversation with your fiancé about her behavior and why you don't want her there. With your wedding being so small, her being there could ruin the day for you to the point you don't want to remember it at all. Not the asshole. Small weddings like that are only for your closest people, anyway. She certainly isn't among them. Not the asshole, and since it's such a small wedding it would make sense that you wouldn't give this friend a +1, so hopefully there will be no hurt feelings. Not the asshole. But this woman is not the only asshole here. Your fiancé and her boyfriend are also huge a-holes. I can't see why you are marrying this selfish guy. Ooh, she's one of those. I've run across a few of those over the years. NTA. Shall try to hijack your wedding cause how dare the men pay attention to anyone but her. Info. Can you elaborate on how she ignored you and was dismissive? And what else happened over the visit? Because so far you've only listed this vomiting incident. Which, yeah, gross and rude, but something that one should get past given it was a dumb drunken mistake. Not the asshole. Wow. I can't believe she never introduced herself or thanked you for letting her stay over. Good manners are free. Am I the asshole for considering not letting my mother around unsupervised any future children? On mobile and English has always been a bit wonky, so sorry for any mistakes. So me and my dear fiancé, DF, have been having serious talks about after our wedding, mostly about children. Things like how many, where we'd want to be in life before having any, etc. etc. My mother has caught wind of us talking about having children, and has expressed to me how excited she is as I am her only daughter out of 3 children. She loves to talk about what she'd want to do for the children and babysitting and whatever. However, I am not comfortable with that, and here is one example to why. Turns out I'm allergic to amoxicillin. I found out when I got strep throat 1 year while still living with her. I was 19? I believe? It was a horrible experience. Hives, puking, fevers. The works. I got sick at work and was sent home, and when I begged my mother to pick me up, she berated me for looking sick. Me being spineless due to other issues, I just took the abuse during the whole car ride. When I got home and tried to go inside, I felt the urge to hurl again, so I left to the bathroom. She followed me and screamed at me, "Oh, grow up, op." This went on for 2 weeks. It got so bad that my hives would bleed to just wearing clothes. I was told to suck it up and walk. This has not been the first time where if I had emotional or physical problems that she would degrade me. It's why I was afraid of her back then. Since being kicked out, living on my own, and with DF's help I've learned to not take her crap anymore." Now back to the original post. When she expressed this, I kind of just raised a brow to her, and I told her that if she were to visit my children it would be supervised, if that. She asked me why and I explained the issue from before, and told her that ever since that incident I have questioned if she could even be trusted near my children. She told me she didn't remember the incident, but I guess I got my answer then. Later she sent me a text apologizing, saying, "I have and will make mistakes, and I've had family members express to me that my mother has become a better person and I shouldn't hold the past against her. I will admit she has gotten better, but sometimes her old self can come creeping back and I'd rather not bet my future children's well-being on a chance she's better." Of course I'm taking DF feelings into account, who witnessed some of it. He is on the same boat at me, if anything he is a bit harsher. So I guess am I the asshole for considering her not even seeing them? Or only supervised? Edit. I thought I should add the only reason I do talk to her now is because not only has she kind of gotten better, but I still speak with my stepfather who is a wonderful man and father to me, and is the reason she's getting better. If it wasn't for my own father passing away, I probably wouldn't have considered a relationship. Edit 2. Thank you all for such kind words and expressing your own stories to me. And yes, I've seen the coconut oil story. It was just awful. I've had a couple tell me that I should worry more on non-existent children and more on the relationship, and don't worry, I have. It's just a stepping stone process right now. Just this topic came up and I was feeling like an asshole. But you guys have assured me that I'm doing the right thing. Once we do have children, me and my DF will talk about it with stepfather then. But most likely it will be supervised as DF witnessed it. However, we were long distance at the time so he couldn't do anything but watch it unfold from the call. And I will carry his wishes more than my mother. Thankfully I'm at a point in time that she can't affect me, my schooling, or anything really if I cut contact. So, thank you. Not the asshole. But instead of fighting over children that don't yet exist, focus on the actual issues you have with her. This reminds me of the coconut oil story. That story haunts me. NTA. I can say I grew wings since the last time I met somebody. Doesn't mean that it's true. She can say she's changed, but she's conveniently forgetting a prolonged issue. Who seriously forgets 2 weeks? And then didn't even actually apologize for it. So that's more telling than her saying she's changed. Not the asshole. She went from, "that never happened," to, "well I'm sorry but since I'm human I'm prone to make mistakes," basic abuser tactic. By the way, abusers don't get better. She might not abuse you the same way she used to because you don't live with her anymore. One thing is abusing a child who depends on you and another is trying that shit on an independent adult. But she still shows abuse by gaslighting you and by then minimizing what she did to you as normal human mistakes. Not the asshole. I'm in the same boat. I don't have kids but I worry about having them because my mill will never be allowed to watch them alone and she has made comments before about how she can't wait for them and how she'd have them all the time. She smokes like crazy and has burn holes all over everything and I went shopping with her once for makeup and I realized she was shoplifting. People who are saying you are the asshole for creating drama over kids who don't exist are lucky they don't have to worry about this. It's super stressful and makes me question if I even want to have them. She lives close to my mom so I'd have to come up with excuses as to why my mom could watch them and she can't. It sucks and I don't blame you for stressing over it. It's better to figure this out before you have them. Not the asshole. You do what you want with your kids. That said, the kids don't exist and you have time to work this out now in a lower stakes situation. Not the asshole. I think it's perfectly reasonable why you would worry about how she may treat your children if they get sick or hurt based on your experiences with her. I can say it is a really good sign that she apologized. I've seen many abusive parents simply dismiss their past behaviors and remain in denial. Has she gotten better, or have you just gotten away from her? Not the asshole. Keep your future children safe. Not the asshole. Amazed you even bother having a relationship with her at all. That kind of torture you went through is pretty scarring. Am I the asshole for walking out on a patient after she pooped herself? Too long did not read. I vomited twice because my patient pooped herself, the bed, the floor, and her own clothes. I had to leave early, but finished all my tasks before leaving. The patient's husband called me an asshole and now I feel guilty for leaving. I care for the elderly. Sometimes I get sent to facilities or hospitals. Sometimes I get sent to homes. Sometimes I get sent to elderly communities. I just go wherever they send me. I'm one of the best workers they have, so the company I work for sends new hires to me for training. The patient always comes first in my eyes. Right now, I was sent to a bedridden patient, female, we'll call her Teresa. Teresa lives with her husband, who is very active and very supportive of her. He was her caretaker for 5 years, until he had to hire us due to her medical complications. So, Teresa is never left alone, even when we leave. When I got to Teresa's house this morning, I walked into her bedroom and immediately smelled feces. I asked her husband why there was an odor, and he told me that she had a blowout. Part of my job is to change diapers and make sure that she doesn't get a UTI, so I'm used to dealing with poop. But when I tell you that this was the worst case I've ever seen. There was wet poop up to the back of her neck, all over the sheets, spilling out of her diaper, dripping onto the floor. The worst part was that all of it was mixed with chunks of what looked like corn or seeds, and the smell just erupted as soon as I peeled back the poop sheets. I tried to brace my stomach, but it was too late. I turned and ran out to try not to embarrass Teresa, and vomited all over the front of my scrubs and onto the floor. I had to go and clean myself up, and by the time I was done cleaning all the vomit, Teresa's husband had cleaned up most of the feces. I felt awful. I went to clean her up the rest of the way, and even then there was still poop collected underneath her. It was horrible. I was scheduled to be there for 4 hours, but I couldn't stay past the first hour. Once I got her cleaned up and fresh, I thought everything would be okay. But out of nowhere I vomited again, and it got inside my scrub shirt and on my bra. I went to Teresa's husband and apologized profusely, but told him that I couldn't stay. I needed to clean myself up. I assured him that I would get everything done before I go, but I couldn't stay for 4 hours. He started yelling at me, calling me an asshole and telling me that I was horrible and shouldn't be working my job. This really got to me because I take pride in how good I am at my job. I have a reputation for being one of the company's best workers, and regularly train new hires. I'm leaving early regardless, but now I just feel horrible and guilty. Even though I know she still has care, and I finished what I was hired to do, I feel like I just abandoned my patient. Am I the asshole? Edit to add. 1. Because, apparently I didn't make it clear enough. This is the very first time anything like this has happened. I handle feces on a regular basis, and have never reacted like that. 2. I cleaned her up, and finished all my tasks before I left. 3. No, I'm not going to rethink my career choice. As some people stated, if every nurse quit or was fired because of one bad day, you'd all be fucked. 4. I did call the agency, and they told me to leave. They also told me that they will not send a replacement since I finished all the tasks, and it would only be a 3-hour shift. Factor in the travel time, and whoever came to replace me would end up only getting paid for maybe an hour. There was no point in sending someone else. 5. He left her like that since 5 a.m. I don't get there until 10 a.m. ETA. I guess I will succumb to peer pressure and change my vote to not the asshole based on OP's edit about Teresa's husband leaving his wife a mess for hours. My original post. NaH, you're physically unable to care for her right now, so you had to leave. At the same time, it's not unreasonable for her husband to expect you to be able to handle this and to stay for your full shift, especially after he cleaned up the tough stuff himself. It's just an unfortunate situation all around, especially for Teresa. And I just have to ask, are you a woman? Is there any chance you are pregnant? He left her like that for 5 fucking hours? It's time for a social worker visit, cause that's elder abuse. Absolutely not the asshole, by the way. That's beyond disgusting. Not the asshole you couldn't predict your reaction, but he's protective of his sickly wife and is understandably upset you didn't stay the full time you were supposed to. However, why didn't he leave her like that? How long had she been covered in her own poop? Edit rating comments. Not the asshole hurt isn't about intention, it's about impact. This family was hurt by your actions even though they weren't malicious. They're entitled to that. They're not entitled to deride you or your professional choices. You are allowed to have bad days. You are allowed to be human. You apologized and did your job to the best of your ability in the moment. Edit. After seeing your edits, that husband fucking sucks, dude. Not the asshole at all. Not the asshole. All the people saying you are probably have never dealt with something like this. This isn't regular poop, this is a massive blowout. Most people, even best of the best, could still throw up. You did everything that was required of you and left. You are still human. I wouldn't want to be sitting in my vomited scrubs for 4 hours. You even called the agency and they told you to leave. The husband is a bit of an ass. He was able to clean up as much as he could while you vomited. He should have done that before you came in. He not completely incapable. Was NAH until I read that the husband left her like that for 5 hours. Literally what the hell, poor woman. Not the asshole. We all have bad days at work, but this is another level. If you have childbearing capacity, and it's at all a possibility, I highly recommend a test. After I got pregnant, I had one hell of a time dealing with poop. It was never a problem before. I was a healthcare aide for 15 years before I became a registered nurse. The husband left her like that for 5 hours. No wonder it was extra spicy.